This is actually a project car that one of my students, Lucas, is taking on. It's a pretty big project, obviously, but Lucas has done about maybe 4 or 5 classes with me, and he's been airbrushing for a couple of years now, so I'm pretty confident he can nail it. We're starting off with the base coat sealer black. Now we actually want the car to be white, however there's been some repairs to the car, some primer, so black is obviously a better neutralizer than white. So Lucas is just coming in now with base coat sealer black. Just one light coat. And now he's coming in with base coat sealer white. You notice I didn't say base coat sealer dark, I said base coat sealer black. That's because these are actually our new range of sealers. They're from the Autoborn range, the 4700 range. And these will be available in 2013, sort of mid to late summer 2013. Check out the website autowearcolors.com for more information. Now the car's been neutralized black, Lucas is just coming in with the Autoborn sealer white. And again, 1 or 2 light coats is enough to reach coverage. And again, as with all our sealers, they're completely sandable. We're just starting to come in now with the first colour here. In this case, it is metallic burnt orange. Now you'll notice we're using a minigun. This is a 0.8 minigun. Whenever you're starting a project like this, you always want to do around the door checks first. To use a big spray gun in this, 1.2, 1.3 would be counterproductive. You'd put too much paint out and it would be difficult to control. So we're just coming in here with a 0.8 minigun. Once we've got the door checks done, now it's time to switch to the big gun, and this is the Devilibus GTI Pro 1.2 setup. And Lucas is coming in again with the metallic burnt orange. This time we're using 10% reduction. Now I know in previous videos we've stopped using reducers, but this is actually our new 4012 high performance reducer, and at 10% with the metallic burnt orange it will lay absolutely perfect. Beautiful atomization. We're just starting to mix up some of the background colours. This is based on semi-opaque white, a bit of transparent tan and yellow. Once we've got the paint the right shade, I'm just putting in some transparent base in. The transparent base will obviously make the paint more transparent and make it easier to fade out. Just putting a positive stencil here, just a loose mask in place. And when you're airbrushing, you really always want to work from background to foreground. So this is a 0.8 minigun, 10% 4012 high performance flash reducer, and you see we've got the air restricted to the horn, so the paint is coming out quite directional, kind of like an airbrush on steroids here. Very fast transfer efficiency rate, but still gives Lucas great accuracy. We've got the overall look what we're trying to achieve now. Now we're just going to warm the colours up. Obviously the semi-opaques and transparents are non-exotic paints, and the rest of the car is exotic. An exotic paint is a paint that interacts with sunlight, typically sparkles or shimmers. So what I'm doing now is I'm just taking Sparklescent Mango, again with 10% 4012 reduction, and I'm just starting to fade it into the metallic burnt orange. Technically what I'm doing here is we're turning the non-exotic paints into exotics. So now the semi-opaques will shimmer to the same consistency as the metallic burnt orange. I've got the colours pretty much where we need to be now. So Lucas is ready to start airbrushing. And he's just coming in here with a 0.5. Using a combination of semi-opaques and transparents. And it's just using basic 2-inch masking tape to capture form. Starting to feature up some of the buildings here and just using a heat gun, 2000 watt heat gun, just to dry. The paint obviously will dry pretty quickly, especially with the 4012 reducer, but the heat gun just speed things up a little bit for you. Just removing the last of the 2-inch masking tape now. And once we've got the background complete, we're now ready to start painting the foreground. Just taking a loose mask and laying it in place here, and we're just using fridge magnets. Something we use on our classes a lot. You can buy them at a local hardware store pretty cheap. And a couple of fridge magnets will just lock that down in place for you. And as I said earlier, in general you want to work from background to foreground, so we're coming in now with the frisk film. Just exposing the leading edge of the frisk film. No point taking the backing off the entire area. We only need the front bit, the leading edge, to actually lock down. Now Lucas is coming in with a 0.8 minigun. I encourage my students to spray at 45 degrees whenever you're using frisk film like this. The reason for that is to minimize the chance of underspray or paint creep. Once you've got the edges secured and you're spraying in the middle, then you can return the gun back to 90 degrees for a higher transfer efficiency. But this will keep your underspray down to a minimum. Now the whole area's been sprayed. That was just semi-opaque deep black. Lucas is coming in now with a mixture, and it's actually a mixture of semi-opaque white and yellow, again with a little bit of transparent base and some reducer. The white would be a little bit harsh, and if we had used yellow, obviously it would green shift. So this is a combination of both yellow and white. Lucas is just starting to map the areas out, 100% freehand at this stage. Just keeping an eye as reference picture. Doesn't need to be perfect at this stage, as long as it doesn't look too bad. You get an overall balance. You can always come back and tweak things later. And now he's going to come in with transparent red oxide. And this transparent red oxide is actually neat, completely out of the bottle. No need for a reduction here whatsoever. Technically, the work has been done. Everything has been mapped out in monochromatic. So we're just using the transparent red oxide as a tonal wash. Pretty high air pressure here, as you can see, 40 psi. If it's a bit grainy, by all means take it down with some reducer. But this is pretty much just straight out of the bottle. The sheer nature of the transparent paint here means that you can just build it up and build it up. If you want more saturation, just apply more coats. Very, very simple system. And again, you see the colours all coming into line. Lucas is definitely in the driving seat here. He's just coming back in with his original yellow and white mixture, this time with a little bit more reduction, just to soften out those edges. On the other side, however, we want a sharper edge. So we're coming back in with the loose mask, just renegotiating with the mask, spraying the background a little bit. So now we have one side sharp and one side slightly soft and diffused. We're just switching paint lines now to the Wicked. The difference between the Wicked and the Autowear is almost nothing. They're almost identical. However, the Wicked detail is milled ground a little bit further. The particles are sheared just to give that a little bit more atomization. And of course, there's a different range of colours as well. And you can use 4011 or 4012 reduction for either. So Lucas is just coming in now with burnt sienna and burnt orange Wicked at about maybe 20-25% reduction. I had to laugh here. Lucas and I are having a big debate about how to paint these bats, and it was going to be a loose mask, going to cut out a bit of a shield. And I just urged him to freehand it all. I knew he had the skill, just lacked the confidence a little bit. And once he got started, that was it. He was gone. He just went. The entire thing here is completely freehand. And I think he's doing a fantastic job. Really, really impressive. Of course, it doesn't help when you got some Irish guy breathing down your neck, watching your every move, but there you go. And we're switching paint lines again. This time it's the new Createx illustration colours. Obviously they're for illustration purposes, not automotive. However, we just knew as soon as we bring them out that people would be trying to use them for automotive applications. And that's what this video is about. It's really just to show the versatility of the entire Createx line. Now Lucas is just using these straight out of the bottle with a 0.5 airbrush. However, if you do want to reduce the new illustration colors, you can just use the Wicked reducer. You can use the W500 or the 4012, which is the same new high performance reduction. However, Lucas is just using the white here straight out of the bottle. Just coming in now with the 50-52 yellow. Just being a little bit more selective now, just starting to form up a little bit. Again, nothing too serious, not hung up in detail or anything, just trying to get an overall tonal wash. And coming in with the next colour, which is 50-54 orange, and you can see definitely now starting to make a difference, being every time we switch colour and go darker, we get a little bit more selective. So Lucas has just taken off the frisk film and exposed everything. He's now freehanding with the last colour, which is burnt umber. If you're watching this video in America and you're interested in any of these products, please check out our US web store, which is www.airbrushpaintdirect.com. That's pretty much the airbrushing wrapped up, and Lucas is just about to put his logo on here, and he's using Autowear automotive masking tape just to transfer the image. Be sure to sign all your work, guys. Obviously, Lucas owns the car, so he can sign it just about as big as he wants. Just make sure it's in the center, 1-inch tape, get it completely aligned, and just now removing the masking tape. And this is the original metallic burnt orange, only now we've laced it with about 20% transparent black just to give a slightly darker tone. Lucas didn't want the logo too bright, wants it to be pretty subtle in the sunlight. And just a couple of light coats. Whenever you're drying the paint between coats, I don't really like using a heat gun. If I've got vinyl on a surface there, it can shrink it a little bit and tends to leave glue residue. So we're just using a dry jet system here. This is a SATA dry jet. If you don't have one of these, you can literally just use an air line or even the air of the airbrush. But this is a much faster system what we're using here, and this is a process called cold curing. It does not attack the vinyl whatsoever. That's pretty much the logo on, wrapped up, and now we're ready for the secret ingredient. What I'm doing now is I'm just taking Sparklescent Sun Gold with my 1.2 spray gun, and I'm just dropping one coat over the entire car. This is over the areas now, specifically the metallic burnt orange, okay? I'm trying to stay away from the artwork. I'm just putting it over the top, and it's going to blend into the Sparklescent Mango that I've put on previously. Just coming in now with a heat gun. Obviously we're in a spray booth here, so the paint's going to dry completely, but before you clear coat, I would actively encourage you to come in with a heat gun and get that paint completely 100% cured prior to clear coating. Lucas is just putting on the first coat of clear here, and the principle is exactly the same for base painting as clear coating. You want to take care of the awkward areas first, typically the wheel arches, the door checks, and your first coat does not want to be wet. You don't want to be a one coat wonder. We put on what's called a gripper coat or a drop coat, and it's basically a bridge between the water-based base paint and the urethane clear. So do not put that first coat on wet. After about 15 minutes, you can put on another coat. This is called your flash off time. The flash off time is the time it takes a paint to chemically dry before it can be recoated by itself. So every time you put a coat of clear on, you want to leave it on average, and it varies depending on conditions obviously, but on average you're looking about a 10 to 15 minute flash off time. So get a coat on, leave it for 15 minutes, get another coat on. This is Lucas actually on his third coat here, so just one or two more coats will complete this. And you can see he's just taking his time, working nice and slowly, making sure he doesn't get any dry patches or any excess buildups. It's only when all the clear coat has been applied and you take the car out of the spray booth that you really appreciate these colours. The Sparklescent Sun Gold is absolutely insane over the metallic burnt orange. If you see this thing in the sunlight, it would burn a hole in your eyes. Absolutely incredible colour saturation. I think this is amazing what Lucas has done here. I'm really proud of him. It's a huge job, massive project to take on. He's only been airbrushing for a couple of years, but I think he's absolutely nailed it. So if you've been inspired by anything you've seen here, you're curious about our classes or coming to our airbrush school, just check out our website, all the W's, smdesigns.co.uk. My name's Simon Murray, and thanks for watching.